Hello guys, we are going to be looking at the biology specimen for 2024 Waec, and we are going to be fast because of time. The specimen are a little bit vast. Okay, so specimen A is the gills of fish, and they specifically said it should be freshly procured. Okay, so now let's look at the possible question that can come out from this particular specimen. Number one, we should know that the gill is a respiratory organ in aquatic animals. Okay, so most of the aquatic animals make use of the gills for respiration. Okay, now the gill is covered with a structure known as the operculum. The operculum covers the gills, in case you are asked. All right, so the gill also is made up of three major parts. In case you are asked to draw, these parts must be labeled accordingly. Number one is the gill raca. Number two is the gill arc. Number three is the gill filament. These are major parts of the gills. Now, the gills we know is used for respiration in fishes or aquatic animals. Now, the respiration is between two gases, as we know, the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. This oxygen is in dissolved form. So the gills helps the fish to attract or trap dissolved oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. So this is just the background review of the gills. Okay, so we are going to move over to specimen B. Now, specimen B is the whole liver of domestic fowl with gallbladder attached. So we're expected to provide the liver of domestic fowl with gallbladder attached. Domestic fowl is, if we're talking about the domestic fowl, we need to know what the scientific name is, because it might be asked. So the scientific name for domestic fowl is the Gallus domestica. Okay, so this is the scientific name for the domestic fowl. Now, when writing the scientific name, the general name or the genus name has to start with a capital letter, and it has to be underlined separately. Do not underline all the words at once. It has to be underlined separately. So these are technical points when writing biology exams, which I will discuss in another video. Okay, so now we are going to look at the liver and the gallbladder. These are two organs in one. Okay, so the liver, you are expected to know the functions of the liver. Firstly, we know that the liver is very important for the regulation of blood sugar, regulation of blood sugar. It helps to convert excess glucose to glycogen with the help of an enzyme or with the help of a hormone known as the insulin that's released by the pancreas. So this is the function of the liver. Okay, the liver also has other function like detoxification. It helps to detoxify. The liver also helps in the synthesis of fat. It also helps in production of red blood cells. In fetus. Okay, so the fetus are the bones of the fetus are not really developed to produce the red blood cells. Since the red blood cells are produced in the bone marrow, the bones are not really developed, so the liver helps to produce the red blood cells in fetus. Okay, so these are the major functions of the liver. Now, the liver also helps in deamination. Yes, deamination. Okay, now let's move over to the gallbladder now. Now, the gallbladder is a structure that is attached to the liver. The gallbladder is a structure that is attached to the liver. Now, let's talk about the gallbladder. The gallbladder produces a substance known as the bile. And this bile is very important because it helps to emulsify, we'll say emulsification of fat. So this bile helps to emulsify fat. Okay, this bile is synthesized in the gallbladder and released to emulsify or digest fat. That's the function of the bile. It is attached to the liver. Okay, so that's the major function of the bile. So that's about specimen B. So let us move over to specimen C. Let's move over to specimen C. Specimen C is lungs of domestic fowl. Lungs of domestic fowl. Okay, now we know that the lungs is used for respiration in chordates. So the major function of the lung is respiration in chordates. But now the lungs of the domestic fowl and the lungs of other chordates like the mammals are different. Okay, because in mammals now something regulates the respiration in mammals, and that is the diaphragm. It helps to contract and relax lungs, which aids gaseous exchange. But in the domestic fowl, the diaphragm is absent. The diaphragm is absent. Okay, so a structure plays the function of the diaphragm, and that structure is known as the sternum, is also called the breastbone, and the rib. So the ribs and the sternum helps to make respiration possible in domestic fowl. Okay, so that is that about specimen C. So firstly, it's used for exchange of gases, which is respiration, and diaphragm is absent. The sternum are used in place of the diaphragm. Okay, so that's for specimen C. And let's look at the next specimen, which is specimen D. Gizzard of domestic fowl. Okay, so this specimen is also called, specimen D is also called the ventriculus. Okay, it's also called the ventriculus, and it has an important function. It functions in grinding food particles. Okay, so if you split or dissect the gizzard, you would find structures like grits. Those structures are stones that helps to grind food particles. Okay, so if you split the gizzard into two and open it, you find grit stones that helps to grind food particle. Okay, so the function of the gizzard is grinding of food particles. All right, in domestic fowl. So that's the function of the gizzard. And what else? Okay, I think that's all you should know for the gizzard. In case you are asked, just know the functions of these specimens. All right, so let's move over to specimen E because of time. Specimen E. Specimen E small intestine of domestic fowl. Almost all the specimen is associated with domestic fowl. Okay, so now the intestine in domestic fowl is actually divided into three parts. Firstly, the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. Okay, and these three parts function in assimilation of food. So when the food is taken down or eaten, when it gets to the intestine, what happens is that the intestine begins to extract these nutrients, okay, from the foods they eat. All right, so these are parts. Now these are parts actually of the small intestine. Now you will get to a junction. So if this is the intestine, you will get to this junction. This junction is the junction that begins the ceca. These are known as the ceca. Okay, so after the ceca, you have the large intestine. You have the large intestines. Okay, so after the large intestines, you go into the colon and outside the body. So this is just the intestine. So they might ask you to give divisions of the intestine. Okay, they might also ask you to measure the length of the intestine. So if you are asked to measure the length of the intestine, you measure from the duodenum. Duodenum begins immediately after the stomach. So you measure from the duodenum down to the large intestine, the end of the large intestine. Okay, to get your correct measurements. So that is that about the intestine. Okay, so now let's look at the next specimen here. That should be the specimen F, right? Yes, specimen F. Now specimen F is ginger rhizome. Now this is a plant that actually has nutritional value. Okay, it is also used as spice in most African homes. Okay, so this specimen, now some question that can come out from this specimen is maybe mention the scientific name or the botanical name of this plant. Okay, so the scientific name of ginger rhizome is Zingiber officinale. Okay, this is the scientific name of this plant. Always remember to underline the general name starts with a capital letter. Okay, it's very important to know. Now this plant also has a vegetative structure or a propagative structure. If you are asked what is the propagative structure of specimen F, the answer should be the rhizomes. Okay, so this ginger is in the category of the turmerics and so on. Okay, they are propagated by the rhizomes. Okay, so those are possible questions that can emanate from this specimen F, which is the ginger rhizomes. Okay, all right, so that is that about the specimen F. Now let's move to the next specimen. Please, if you have a question, please you can ask in the comment section. I'm just trying to be fast because of time. Okay, so the next specimen will be specimen G. Specimen G is known as onion ball. Okay, onion ball, we all know onion. It's very important and very nutritious. We use it in almost everything we eat in Africa here. Okay, so the onion bulb, we have to know the botanical name of the onion bulb. Botanical name of the onion bulb is Allium cepa. Okay, so you have to know this one first. So this is the general name or the genus name, and this is the species name. Okay, so that is that for onion bulb. Now you need to know the propagative structure. How is this onion bulb propagated? Okay, now the propagative structure of onion bulb is known as the bulb, just like you have here. The bulb is known as the propagative structure. Okay, these fall in categories with the likes of garlic and so on. Okay, so that's the question. Now you can be asked to differentiate between the onion bulb and the ginger. So there are differences. You can be asked to differentiate between the onion bulb and the ginger. They can also ask you the economic value of onion. We all know how valuable onion is in Nigeria. So it is very, very important. So just look out for the economic value of onion. Now try also to dissect the onion. You might be asked to dissect the onion and draw. So try also to dissect the onions. Now onions also have the adventitious roots. Okay, so you can try to draw the onions and dissect the onions and draw it and label properly. So that's what you're going to look out for specimen G. Okay, so let's move over to another specimen, the next specimen quickly. So the next specimen is specimen H. Specimen H. Specimen H. Now specimen H is known as Bryophyllum. Now they ask for the leaf of Bryophyllum. Now they didn't just ask for the leaf of Bryophyllum, they asked for the leaf of Bryophyllum that has adventitious roots. Adventitious roots. Okay, so I will explain what adventitious roots is. Adventitious roots are roots that grows from points aside the main roots. For example, you can have roots growing on the stem, you can have roots growing on the leaves. Okay, so this particular one, they ask for this Bryophyllum that has these adventitious roots on the leaf, because they specified here that they need the leaf. Okay, now this Bryophyllum, the scientific name for Bryophyllum leaf is Bryophyllum pinnatum. Now this plant is almost everywhere. It is known as the common name is the air plant. Some people know it as the miracle plant. Okay, it is very, it is soft tissued. It's a soft tissued plant. Okay, and it is known for its medicinal purpose. It is very, very medicinal. It contains high level of steroid and alkaloid. Okay, so it is very, very medicinal. So that's what you should know about specimen H, which is leaf of Bryophyllum with adventitious roots. Okay, they can ask you what's the propagative structure of the Bryophyllum leaf. You can say the adventitious roots. Okay, because that is the adventitious roots of the leaf, right? Because that's the propagative structure. Okay, so that is that. Now we're going to move over to another specimen because of time. That should be specimen J. specimen J. Now specimen J is cassava stem. Cassava stem. Now, since we are dealing with plant, now we need to know firstly the botanical name of cassava. Okay, now they give us cassava stem as specimen J. They also give us specimen K as cassava tuber. I'll be discussing them simultaneously. Firstly, the scientific name of cassava is Manihot esculenta. Manihot esculenta is the scientific name of cassava. Okay, so you should know that this is the scientific name of cassava. You can also go and check out for the taxonomy from the family, order, and other level, the kingdom. Obviously, this is kingdom planting. Okay, this kingdom planting. So the cassava stem now, if you notice the cassava stem, it has things like nodes. These are nodes. It has structures like nodes. Now these nodes can be regarded as adventitious roots as well, because when you plant this particular stem, it sprouts out, the leaf begins to grow. Okay, it sprouts out to grow to form a bigger stem. Meanwhile, this stem turns or begins to grow into the cassava tuber. Now, so the cassava tuber the question that can come from the cassava tuber, it can be maybe mention the economic value of cassava tuber, economic value of specimen K. So the economic value of specimen K is vast. Okay, we know that we process cassava into gari, into fufu, into a lot of things, cassava flakes, a lot of things. Okay, so the economic value is very high. So that is specimen J and K. And let us move over to the next specimen, which is specimen L. Specimen L. Now specimen L is the thoracic vertebrae. The thoracic vertebrae. Now the thoracic vertebrae, you should know firstly that the thoracic vertebrae are 12 in number. Okay, they are 12 in number. I did a video of the axial skeleton. You can go and check it out. Now they are 12 in number. It is part of the axial skeleton. Okay, they are found in the thoracic region. Right now, the bones of the ribs articulate from the thoracic vertebrae and meet at the sternum, forming a rib cage. Okay, forming a rib cage. So there are 12 in number. The bones of the rib cage articulate from the thoracic vertebrae and meet at the sternum, hence forming a rib cage. So that is the thoracic vertebrae. You might be asked to draw the thoracic vertebrae, so you know you should draw the thoracic vertebrae and label appropriately. Okay, so you learn how to draw the thoracic vertebrae. You learn the functions. I've told you the functions of the thoracic vertebrae, that the bones of the rib articulate from them to form a rib cage. Okay, so that's about thoracic vertebrae. So now let's move to the next specimen. We are trying to be fast because of time. The next specimen is the humerus, specimen M. Humerus. Now the humerus bone is the bone of the arm, the upper arm. This bone here of the upper arm is known as the humerus. Now the bone that follows the humerus is known as the radius and ulna. The two other bones are these other parts known as the radius and ulna. Now the humerus is connected to this shoulder blade by the glenoid cavity, in case you are asked. Okay, so there's a cavity at the shoulder blade, or you can call it the scapulae. Okay, there's a cavity at the shoulder blade that connects the humerus. Okay, so you can be asked to draw the structure of specimen M and label. Okay, so you do that. That's just that. And you can be asked the function of the humerus. Okay, you know that it attaches to the glenoid cavity and also attaches to the ulna and the radius. Okay, it is part of the pentadactyl plan. It's part of the pentadactyl plan. Okay, so that is that for specimen M, which is the humerus. So let's move over to the next specimen we have. That should be specimen N, which is mango seed. Mango seed, and they specifically told us to prepare a dry mango seed. Now, firstly, you need to know the botanical name of mango, which is Mangifera indica. Okay, this is the botanical name of mango. You also can look out for the East Kingdom plantain. You can also look out for the class, the order, and so on. Okay, but just know that this is the scientific name of mango. And the question that can emanate from here is maybe what type of placentation does this seed fall under? Now the mango is a basal placentation. It's a basal type of placentation. Okay, mango exhibits basal placentation. All right, so those are the few questions I think will be asked in the exams. Okay, so you know the placentation, you know the propagative structure, which is the seed, the scientific name. You can differentiate between mango and other seeds. Okay, so let's look at the next specimen. Specimen is specimen P. Specimen P is known as the femur. Specimen P is known as the femur. Obviously, we know that the femur is the longest and strongest bone. Longest and strongest bone in the body. Okay, the longest and strongest bone in the body. You may be asked to draw the femur. Okay, so you just draw simple structure. Femur, you have the trochanter. Okay, so you have the trochanter, the shaft, and others. Okay, and other parts. So these are the questions that can come out for the femur. It is found at the lower part of the body. Okay, it's found at the lower part of the body. Okay, it is the thigh bone. It's the thigh bone. The thigh bone. Okay, so that's that about the femur. Okay, so that is specimen P. Now let's look at another specimen. Let's look at another specimen, which is specimen Q. Specimen Q is the lumbar vertebrae. Okay, so obviously you should learn to draw the lumbar vertebrae. The lumbar vertebrae is found in the lumbar region, the lumbar or abdominal region of the vertebrae. Okay, and there are 5 in number. There are 5 in number. Now, most of the body weight rests on the lumbar vertebrae. Most body weight rests on the lumbar vertebrae. Okay, so most of the body weight rests on the lumbar vertebrae. It comes immediately after the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, so that is that about specimen Q. You should learn how to draw the vertebrae as well. Okay, so that's that. Let's look at the, I think the last specimen should be specimen arrow. Specimen arrow, which is orange seed. Orange seed. Okay, now the orange, you should be able to know the scientific name of orange. So the orange is Citrus sinensis. Okay, so this is the scientific name of orange. You can check out for the order. Obviously this is kingdom plantae, the order, the family, and so on. Okay, now this seed, it is expected that we should provide a dry one. Okay, now let's look at the placentation that orange possess is known as the axile placentation. In case you are asked, what placentation does orange seed possess? The orange seed possess the axile placentation, and it is propagated by the seed. Okay, so these are the few things that you should expect in the exam. We do not know how the questions will come. We do not know the exact questions, but having this knowledge already gives you a guide on what to expect. All right, so that is